Okay, here we are live again. Another Tuesday, 6:30. So here we are getting together, and I just happened to notice Krusty Cast Iron's comment. Told that slant with EPU was after block letters with EPU. The original slant just had Erie. Yes, and no, actually, the slant logo when they first came out with it, it was a slant logo with it just said Erie underneath of it, and the pans had heat rings. Later on, there was a slant logo with the Erie, Pennsylvania, USA underneath the logo, and they also had heat rings. Both of those were made from about 1910 up until about 1920 when they started in with the block letter large logo. But in the last half of the 1930s, right before they switched over to the small logo, they brought back the slant logo with the Erie, Pennsylvania, USA, but it was a smooth bottom pan. The picture I used for the thumbnail for this video is one of those. Those are made in the 30s, actually. Made after, they were still making the large block logo skillets, but they also, for some reason, decided to make slant logo smooth bottom pans. So the real difference is whether it has a heat ring or not. But there's more on Griswold heat rings too, and we'll kind of touch on that once we start looking at the prices a little bit there. But yeah, they were both before and after the large block logo ones. Let me go back here and say hi to everybody who is here tonight. A little bit behind on these. Jesus. Gray Litton, Billy Lee, good to see you guys. Raymond. How many comments are there here if I get back to the beginning? There we go. Corey Clark, Cynthia Wesley, Rocket Caver, they're all here. Jim, 44. He likes the Griswolds. And yeah, we'll touch on quite a few of the prices here and some of the other stuff. Griswold is your cast iron. Haven't met a piece you didn't like. They're nice. I mean, a lot of people love Griswold. They're considered top of the line, and they honestly were. They were high quality pans, and there's a lot of demand for them. Most of the Griswold stuff you're going to see for sale is not rare. I mean, most of the skillets, a lot of the other stuff is pretty common. They made millions of pieces, but there are some real genuine rarities that you're going to spend a fortune for if you can find one. But for the most part, they're not all that scarce. Am I on right now? No, 6:30 is when we start. Griswold's nice, but I won't pay ridiculous prices for it. Yeah, a lot of it's overpriced, especially, flea markets, antique shops. They see the name Griswold, they figure it's at least $100. But I was kind of surprised, actually, by some of the prices that I did see on this, and I think you will be too on some of them. There's a couple things that people paid stupidly high prices for, but a lot of stuff actually went pretty reasonable, or for at least around what you expect to pay for it. Found two number 3 Griswold for $10, wondering why one is a large logo and the other small, different years. Yeah, the large logo ran up until 1940 or so, and then they switched over to the small logo. But as far as the quality of the pans go, they're the same pans. The only difference is the logo. But there isn't quite as much demand for the small logo for some reason. And the prices on those have kind of caught up, but it used to be a lot cheaper for a small logo pan compared to the same large logo ones. And they caught up some, but you can still get pretty decent deals on a lot of the small logo skillets, and it's the same pan. I mean, it's just they just changed the logo on them is all they did. And Griswold, they kept the quality up right to the end when the foundry was closed down in 1957. The Wagner made Griswold mark stuff, a lot of the quality on that dropped off. They made that in the 60s, and a lot of the Wagnerware stuff really went downhill from then on too. I do have a number 9 Wagner, sits flat and good finish. Most of the Wagners usually have a wobble. Yeah, a lot of them do. I mean, it's pretty common with Wagner's, and a lot of people say they came like that right from the factory. So, make of that what you will. But it's real common for Wagner's to have some wobble to them. But really, wobble doesn't make that much difference. I mean, if you have a glass top stove, it can get to be a problem, especially if it's bad. But usually, it doesn't make much of a difference. Just put a little more grease in the pan, and a lot of times you can talk the price down on them too. So it kind of works to your favor. Cynthia Wesley, I said hi to Jimmy Langford, Dan Rocket Caver, Billy Lee. Try to get caught back up here. Greg Litton, I said hi to. I'm way behind. Anyone actually using number 3? You have 2 Wagner and 4 Griswold, but you never use them. Yeah, I do. I mean, they're nice for frying a couple of eggs. They work great for if you want to make cookies, the big cast iron cookies. Those are kind of popular. Little pan pizzas. They're nice for small stuff. A couple of eggs or scrambled eggs in them. Let's see. Got an unmarked ball wrath. Yeah, ball wraths are nice. The unmarked ones, especially, a lot of them will fly under the radar because they just had a small number on the bottom, but it's still sideways to the handle like the marked ones. But a lot of times people won't notice it, or it's covered up by buildup. And, a lot of people kind of miss out on the fact that it's a ball wrath. Okay, Bookworm, good to see you. Pat Z. Jim F. Nice to see you. Chris Salverson. Oh, I did get your email, Chris. I didn't look until a couple of days after the show, actually. I got to remember to check that more often. And I'll put the picture up here in just a bit. Crusty cast iron. Dan Bookworm. Hopefully I got everybody. I'm just kind of zipping through here quickly, try and get caught back up to the comments and get this underway. Debbie, good to see you. Sylvia, Chip, Pat Z, I think I said hi to. Kind of blinked there for a second. Shanudo, nice to see you. Dan, saying hi to everybody. Strictly listening again. Can't stare in the eyes watching and talking, but he'll be listening. Well, okay, we'll try and behave. I'm not going to put a clause in your will that your wife has to watch this video before she takes your pan to the charity store. Well, hopefully you can find somebody to give away most of them before it gets to that point. Making batch pepper sauce. 6 drops. Good to see you. Make great butter melters. Yeah, they're handy for that too. Yeah, the 3s are kind of handy. I mean, you're not going to be able to fry a steak in them or something like that unless it's a really small steak. But they're handy for a lot of small jobs around the kitchen. So, and if you got a bunch of them, they don't take up as much space on your wall or hanging around. So, just got your first piece of cracked cast iron. Small logo Griswold, so much you couldn't see the crack near the handle. It happens sometimes. And even tapping on them, usually you can find cracks doing that, but not always. Sometimes they ring pretty good and it doesn't sound cracked, and it still ends up with a hairline once you get it stripped off. Yeah, it happens. I've gotten pans I thought were fine and they turned out to be cracked, or a couple I thought might be cracked turned out they weren't. So it kind of works both ways. Found a Wapak number 8 Indian head. Cool. There's block logo favorite. Says the best to cook in. Never seen one before. Yeah, those are cool. They always kind of list the favorite logos as just being 1916 to 1935. They don't really break it down. But I'm pretty sure the block logo was first, and then the block logo, the best to cook in, and then the smiley logo. At least you see the smiley logo that got altered when Chicago Hardware bought them out. So that was probably the last. Whether the best to cook in or the block logo came first, I don't really know, but I'm pretty certain that they were before the smiley. Always tap the pan to see if it has that ringing sound. Yeah, you can definitely screen out a lot of cracked ones that way, but you're not necessarily going to catch them all. What do you think? A Wagwald Ghost Mark Plet pan worth? Uh, Plet pans usually don't go for a lot of money, especially the Wagwald ones. But $20, 15, $20 in there somewhere. I sent a video of that cracked pot a few weeks ago. Yeah, I think I saw that. Well, I know I did, but you can always be searching for a pot to match the lid. These days, Wagwalls are pretty decent. Yeah, I mean, they're not a lot of demand for them. Some are decent, some are pretty rough. I mean, you got to look at the pan first, look and see, if it's a decent pan, it's, probably worth the price. But you can get the Wagwalls are usually fairly decent. Almost caught up, I think, with the comments. Picked up a number 14 lid, rusty and crusty. Found a hairline crack. Yeah, it's not a disaster for a lid. Debatable if the diamond number logo was the last generation favorite. Yeah, that was after Chicago Hardware got involved with them, because Chicago Hardware used the diamond number for a while too. So there's definitely some overlap in them. Shame YouTube doesn't offer picture attachments. Yeah, it would make things a lot easier. Got a number 9 Dutch oven for $67.50 at an antique store. It's a pretty good price for them. The Dutch ovens, Dutch oven with a lid, pretty much any Griswold usually goes for $100 on up, depending on what size it is. You quit collecting until you stumble across me and Motomac a few months ago. It's our fault. Yeah, we'll suck you back in if you ain't careful. I have a favorite number 8 roaster smiley face. Really cool how the handle, wait a minute here, has a wire to act. Yeah, they do. They got a little kind of bend on the wire. Anyhow, they're finally caught up here. Yeah, Chris Salverson sent me a picture. He got this lid on a number 3 skillet, and get that brought up there. Get over here to share my screen, which I got to do anyway to get that set up. Extra camera, share screen, select, show that photo. There we go. And and I've seen these marks before. I've seen these around. Usually I just download the one picture, send a picture of the bottom. It's a gate marked on the bottom. And they are an older lid, and I've seen these markings before, but I don't know who they are offhand. Usually I've seen them on old gate mark kettles, and they're usually like a number 8, number 9 sort of size. So I don't know if the number 3 is rare, but if anybody recognizes this, you can put it in the comments if you know who did this. Like I said, I've seen it before, but I don't know who it is. And number 3 might be pretty scarce because, like I said, the ones I've seen were always on like a number 8, number 9 sized kettle. You searched and searched, couldn't find out what it was. Looks European. It could be. The one half is usually kind of like a European or a lot of your the South African Poiki pots. Usually meant like half gallon size. But anyhow, there's that. We'll leave that up for a while and see if anybody recognizes it. What would you pay for a Griswold Zero Pan? I got one here in the queue, and we'll see what that one sold for. Myself, I probably wouldn't pay more than $50-$60 for it if it was in nice shape, because they're the toy sample ashtray kind of size. They're not really, got itchy nose. I can't really scratch it because I put horse liniment on a little while ago, and there's enough residue on my hand, I'll end up burning my nose. Looks like a cool item. No clue what it is. Yeah, like I said, I've seen them, but I just don't really know who made it. I got a number 6 Griswold at a thrift store. It was very pitted, but it cooks great after reseasoning it. Yeah, pitting usually doesn't turn into a problem. I'll take this down here for now. Doesn't usually turn into a problem. Sometimes, but rarely. Usually just go ahead and use them and they'll season right up for you. I'll stop that screen and get my cursor over here to close this. One other thing before we get started. Remember that $10 kind of mystery pan that I was pretty sure was a Wagner? Got it out of the lye tank. Still got some rust on it, but the cooking surface is perfect on it. Might end up with a little pitting back here up on the side once I get that rust off, but I don't think it'll amount to much. The back's pretty clean. It is unmarked, but I don't know if you can see it. There's a faint A on the bottom of the handle, and up here there's a little round dot, a little punch mark, and that is something that Wagner did. Just like BSR would put a screw in a pattern so they could keep track of it if they're having problems with it, or if it was getting towards the end of its life and they wanted to keep an eye on it. Wagner, a lot of times, they put a little punch mark or 2 or 3 on the bottom side of the handle. It was mostly just an internal thing, a way to track, keep track of different patterns. So yeah, that's a early unmarked Wagner. I'd pretty much 100% sure on it. There's nothing else that I could really think of it could be. And for $10, that's a hell of a nice pan once you get it cleaned up. I have a handle that's pitted on your little Wagner. You get that now and then. But it's definitely a Wagner style of 8 on there. So it's pretty sure what it was to begin with. But now that it's cleaned up a little bit, I'm definitely positive. Now, let me bring up the auction site here. Whoops, there we go. Closed items. And we'll dive into, let her get loaded up here. And we'll dive into some of the auction prices here that these have been selling for recently. Like I said, there's some that were kind of stupidly high. One in particular that's really egregious for what they paid for it. But a lot of these, even allowing for, an average of $20 of shipping, some of them are a pretty decent price. I was kind of surprised. And I think you might be too. So there are some Griswolds out there that you can get at an affordable price. And let me try and embiggen that. Nope, wrong one. I don't want the cropped layout. I want that. There we go. There we go. Got myself off there now. This first one here, that's a 15-inch Lodge from the early 80s up to the early 90s. I've got one identical to it. Nice pans, weighs a ton. And the one with it is a number 8 large logo Griswold. I'm on the wrong screen clicking on it. And it sold for $83 for the 2 of them. So basically 41 bucks a piece. And there's your basic number 8 large logo, smooth bottom, Erie, PA, USA, Griswold skillet. So yeah, I mean, 40 bucks a piece. Shipping on these wasn't too bad for me anyway. The shipping's going to vary depending on where you are. So 40 bucks for a number 8 Griswold plus 40 bucks for a great big huge lodge. Not too bad of a deal. Oh, I'm kind of stockpiling some of the Magnolite. We were talking about Magnolite and aluminum. And once I got a bunch of those sorted out, I'll show them. Let's see. This is a number 6 large. I think I'll try and go through the number 8s quick here just to get a price on those. 3s. Oh, and I want to show you these. I'll show you them in a minute. 96. There's a flat pan that we just mentioned. Large 9, large 14. Okay, here's a number 8. This is a small logo number 8, sold for 36 bucks. It says it has a grooved handle, but this is not the grooved handle. That's just the just a standard handle on it. And it's a number 8, small logo, nice shape. And that went for a pretty good price. That was like I said, 40 bucks more or less for that. So, like I said, you got to figure in probably another 20 bucks for shipping. Another 20 bucks for shipping, 60 bucks. And that's pretty much what they should be going for. They should really be going for, 60 to 80 bucks for number 8s seems to be the common price. You start to pay more than that, you're probably getting screwed. That isn't too bad of a price. And if you're fairly close to this, or especially if you go and pick it up, you would really be ahead on them. I'll get that one out of there so it disappears next time. Find my next number 8. Some of these are, I forgot, 124. What's the deal with this one? Okay, there's a large logo, smooth bottom, just a basic number 8, and it's sold for 125 bucks. I mean, that's way more than it's worth. Like I said, we just showed you the same thing along with a number 15 or a 15-inch lodge, sold for 40 bucks. And yeah, I mean, paying 125 plus shipping on that too. I mean, that's just insane. Just got a number 14 lodge. It'll feed your entire family. Yeah, they're nice pans. I mean, they're heavy as hell, but they are handy to have now and then sometimes. Saw a vintage lodge 14 for over 100 bucks. Yeah, that's way too much. Unless it's like a really early one, a arc logo or a 1-notch. Yeah, it'd be worth more than that. Be worth quite a bit. Making some basmati rice. That sounds good. Okay, I'm kind of distracted myself here. Get back to where I was. Probably put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing a little better. Where was I? There. Yeah, 125 for number 8 is way too much. So you're telling me a small logo Griswold with the grooved handle should sell unrestored for at least 60 bucks? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't pay much more than that for it. Number 8 anyway. 50, $60 is a fair price for it. But like I said, you got to figure add another $20 to the price for these for the shipping. We just looked at a number 8 large logo. Here's another one that sold for $60, for half of what the other one did, and it's the same damn skillet. There's no, it's the same thing. And so every once in a while, people get kind of carried away at auctions. So there's no sense in paying that much for one. Let's see, that's one we just looked at there. And see, here's a small logo, number 8, $26. Usually shipping out of the Pacific Northwest is a bit higher, so they might have ended up paying $25 to $30 for shipping, but you're still looking at $50 altogether for a small logo. It's a small logo, number 8. The small logos, we're going a little bit cheaper, but like I said, they kind of caught up to the large logos, but not entirely. That's one we just looked at. So there's definitely some deals out there that are worthwhile. You can at least pay a fair price for them. That's 5. Here's a small logo groove handled chicken fryer. That's a number 8, $45. That seems a pretty reasonable price. $65 if you figure shipping. Yeah, it seems a pretty reasonable price. It's the 777 chicken fryer, deep skillet, whichever you want to call it. Yeah, Columbia Williamette overcharges on shipping. Yeah, it's nuts what they want. But if you're closer, you might be able to get it cheaper. But even so, that wasn't too bad of a price on that. That one's from Southeast Georgia. It seems like the Southeast and East Coast is a lot cheaper on shipping than stuff coming off of the West Coast for some reason. And I'm in Wisconsin, so I'm right in the middle, and there's no reason why I should. Old is good, big is good, old and big are better. Yeah, a lot of the, pretty much anything, once you start getting over a number 10, all bets are off on the price. They really want to stick it to you on the price of those. I missed that one. That's a small block logo for a small logo, number 8 for $28. Kind of already showed you them, so don't need to really show you too much. Let's see, that's 7. Trying to pick out all the number 8s. I had sense enough to go through and mark most of these beforehand. So this is kind of an interesting one. $45. It's a large logo, chrome plated, but this lid, I'm fairly sure that's a Le Creuset lid, because I got one that's identical to it, and it had a knob like this. When I got it, the knob was broken in half, and the one of the ears was broke off, so I just ground the other ear off, put a different knob on it. But I'm fairly sure that's a Le Creuset lid or something like it. The plating on this isn't really bad. It's not really good either, but it ain't too bad. And usually plated stuff goes for less unless the plating is in really pristine condition, which this isn't. But that's still a hell of a nice pan with a lid for what was it, $45? $65 for call it 65 with shipping, $30 for the pan, $30 for the lid. It's a pretty good deal all around. I can get back down, easy to find a nice bright orange pan. Get rid of that one. That's 5. 5s, 6s. Okay, that was, what was that? Slant logo. I think that's a slant logo. Come on, you don't fight me. That's just a imported square pan, but I think this was a slant logo. Yeah, slant logo, smooth bottom. Like I said, the smooth bottom slant logo ones were mostly from the 1930s. It kind of brought the slant logo back for a little while for some reason, and that's what you ended up with. I gotta get myself readjusted here. Just looking at nice ones. These are ones that have already sold. Trying to get get a handle on some of the prices of what Griswold stuff is selling for Yami. The Deep Erie number 9 was unusual for Griswold. Yeah, we'll get back to that one. They paid way, way too much for that, especially for what it was. Did Griswold make the American waffle iron? Yeah, and then there's a wooden handle one. There's a newer one. They use the cross and circle style logo like a Griswold, but it's a modern made one. It isn't made by Griswold, and I think they call it the new American. Or no, the Griswold was the new American, and the other one is something else. I mean, if you look at the logo, it's different. I mean, there's different wording in there, and it's fairly obvious. And they're the newer ones. All bummers this weekend. Found an orange Belgium lid. Orange Belgium lid for $3 fits your lodge. Yeah, a lot of the I'm blanking on the name, but they were Belgian made. Usually it's enameled, and it's usually pretty nice stuff, nice and light, and works really nice. Let's see, where were we? But anyway, that went, did I get rid of that already? Went past it. $56 for a slant logo, smooth bottom one, plus a extra. It's a pretty decent price, so you're not going to see that real often. Let's see, Victor. Oh, there's a couple of Victors. These are fully marked. There's a number 8 and a number 7. The 7 sold for $92, and the number 8 you can see for $77. A couple of weeks ago, there was two number 8 fully marked Victors, just like this. The pair of them sold for $75. Doesn't kind of make Descoware. That's the one I was trying to think of. And yeah, I like the Descoware stuff. So if you come across that, it used to be dirt cheap, but the people kind of caught on. It's really nice, lightweight, nice cast iron, and the enamel usually holds up on them pretty good. So the prices have started to take off on those. So it's kind of a thing to keep an eye on for. You can still find a lot of it pretty cheap, but not as cheap as you used to be able to. Okay, get rid of that. Like I said, I'm trying to get rid of some of these as we go. Trying to go through all the number 8s. Here's a number 8 and a number 9. They're both small logos, 112. Yeah, it's a little bit high. I mean, you're looking at 130 by the time you figure in your shipping. So that would be $65 a piece, more or less. It's not way out of line, but it's getting up there. Like I said, the two Victors, $92 for one and $77 for the others. When there was some that sold for $75 for two of them. Oh, I just saw this. This is kind of cool. Corn stick pans. This one's a glass one. I just never seen anything quite like it before. It went cheap, $9. I don't know what they're actually worth, but I'd have paid $9 for it. Didn't need one, but yeah, they're kind of an interesting Interesting deal. Miracle Maze, patent applied for. And just kind of a neat little thing I came across. Julia Childs used Desco in her cooking show way back. Oh, that's cool. I can see why. Like I said, it's pretty good stuff. And, people have kind of caught on to it a little bit and the prices have gone up, but you still get some nice stuff pretty reasonable. Oh, this. When they first listed this, they had it listed as a bean pot. And I contacted the sellers through Goodwill. They'll put up a customer service ticket and send it to the seller. And I told them, hey, that's not a bean pot, that's a lead melting pot. And they changed it right away. So if you ever come across something like this, where it's obviously a lead melting pot and they have it listed as a cooking pot, get a hold of them and tell them, no, that's contaminated with lead. And this one is pretty obviously contaminated. That white stuff is lead residue, lead oxide in there. And you can still definitely use it for melting lead, but you sure as hell wouldn't want to cook in something like that because you would definitely get a pretty heavy dose of lead out of that. What's with all the teapots? A lot of them on Goodwill. Yeah, there's quite a bit. Are these still usable or are they more for collection? Oh, they're still usable. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to, a lot of them, you'd have to strip them and recondition them. But they're all usable except for this, which is still usable for a lead pot. Lead pots are easy to spot. They're usually really heavy, got thick, heavy sidewalls on them. They're not very big. I mean, they're about a quart and a half. And they'll have a real heavy wire bail on them because molten lead is pretty heavy. So you don't need to get real big with them before it's too heavy to handle. Your 1910 Wagner tall base waffle iron cleaned up nice. About killed you. $40 is a great price. Yeah, for any tall base waffle iron, $40 is a hell of a good price. And yeah, waffle irons, corn stick pans, they're a pain in the ass to get them cleaned up, but it's worthwhile once you do. But anyhow, yeah, I got a hold of them and they did change it right away. So if you ever come across an obvious lead pot like that they have mislisted as something something you can cook in, let them know. And a lot of times they'll either take it down or, like I said, they relisted that as being a lead pot, which is what you want them to do. Let's see, 7, 6, 7. There's a 10. Here's a slant logo number 8 with a heat ring. These are the slant logos that were made, before, from about 1910 or so up until around 1920s, the early 1920 or the early 1920s. But that's number 8 rather. Number 8 slant logo with the heat ring, Erie, PA, USA, $100. That is about the going rate for them. Something like that, in early 1900s Griswold, you're going to be paying more for it than you would for something made later. And there's a lot of demand for these. So, getting up around the $100 price for something like this is pretty much the market value nowadays. So if you can find one cheaper, you're going to be doing pretty good. If you can find one $60-$70, I would definitely jump on it because most of them sell for around 100. Corn stick pans and waffle irons that are devil to clean. Yeah, they are a pain. Just bought 2 lead pots with a ladle. Got in a bidding war with a fisherman. Yeah, fishermen, shooters. I mean, because you can melt lead and cast bullets, salvage a lot of lead. But yeah, if you ever see something that's obviously meant for use in lead and is obviously contaminated like that, and if it's mislisted, definitely let the seller know. And like I said, they changed it right away. Within a couple hours, they changed it to to a lead pot. So did my public service and saved somebody from lead poisoning themselves if they didn't know any better that was a lead pot. Where was I here? I think I was past that. Slant logo. Oh, these two here, these were, that's a slant logo with a heat ring like I just showed you, a number 8. And it's a number 8 small logo with a grooved handle. $75 a piece. That's a little high for the small logo with the grooved handle, but $75 for a heat ring slant logo. It's a pretty good price. So it kind of averaged out between the two of them. So $150 for the pair isn't really unusual if you consider it $100 for the slant logo and $50 for the other. You're not doing too bad. Let's take that one down because I showed you. This is new. This is actually made in China. This Magnolite sold for $160, but it's a great big one. It's like a 14-quart stock pot. And I'll save that for when we get a little bit more into the aluminum stuff. I was gonna check that out. For some reason, I like Lodge lid challenges too. Yeah, the little nubs on the bottom of the Lodge lids, they can be a pain. Corn stick pans, lye tank, a dental brush, and a dental pick and a stiff brush. Something that works good for cleaning up waffle irons is a grout brush. It's a narrow brush. Usually it's got a few wire bristles and a few nylon bristles, and they're meant for scrubbing the cracks in your grout. They work really nice for those. So if you come across you can find it where in like Menards, Lowe's, something like that in the tile department. They work really good for getting in between the nubs of a waffle iron. I can think maybe. Anyway, $44 for this one here. That's a large logo, large block logo number 8. That's pretty decent price. So, there are still some good deals out there here and there. Small logo number 8 for $61. That's kind of what they're going for. It's not really a good deal on it, but you ain't paying too much either. $50. That's a large logo number 8. Yeah, it's pretty good price for that actually. $61 for this one. That's another number 8 large block logo. So there are some decent prices out there, even for the number 8s. I'll kind of work my way back up the other one. This one I didn't understand. That's a lot of people recognize that right off the bat. That's a BSR. I think it was number 12 BSR. $124. They don't usually sell for that much. Somebody went hog wild. And in the past few weeks, I've seen number 12 and number 14 BSRs selling for $50-$60. So why that one all of a sudden was $120, I don't really know. We're talking about the American waffle irons. This is a Griswold New American. It's a number 9. Usually the bigger ones, most of the ones are 8s. The number 9s, number 7s are a little bit of an odd size, so they tend to go for more. So $160 for that. This is about what they sell for. But that's the Griswold New American waffle irons. And that's the original ones, not the modern day ones. The new ones, they do have a pretty similar base to them. They use the Griswold design, and they use the kind of a modified Griswold logo. and nobody's really called them out on it, I guess, because somebody does still own the Griswold name. Griswold, yeah, the typo in the thing there. Let's see. We'll go back through. I wanted to show you these ones. I'll show you. I think the number 4 had a little, or the 4 spot. These are flop griddles they call them. You put the whole thing on top of your stove and you'd open it up like that. You'd pour pancake batter in that side. Once they started cooking, you would flop them over onto the other side. And there's a 3-section one and a 4-section one, but they're both made by the same company, S Manufacturing. I think this one had a little bit better logo on it. Patented January 25th, 1881, S Manufacturing, New York. And this one sold for $250. I bid on the number 3, or the 3-spot one, but went for a bit more than I could afford. I would have paid about $140 or $150 for it, but people wanted it worse than me. But these are cool. Eventually, I'll get one. I've seen Griswold made them. Griswold, Wagner both made their versions of these flop griddles, and eventually I'll pick one up and have it for my own. But I'm not going to pay a huge amount of money for them. Let's see. These are a number 3 and a number 3, a large and a small logo. Griswold. There you go. There's a number 3 large and there's a number 3 small, and the two of them went for $46. $23 a piece is kind of average price. It ain't too bad of a price for the large logo, because there's a fair bit of demand for any large logo. You can usually get the small logo ones cheaper than that, but $23 a piece is kind of an average price for the two of them, so that ain't too bad. Ain't too far out of line. Cool looking. Have a flop griddle you had for years. I think is a Wagner. Yeah, there's a bunch of unmarked ones, and like I said, those were S company, whoever the hell S was. But 1881, they were popular in the late 1800s. You'd put them on your wood stove if you had a big family, and you could bang out a bunch of pancakes really fast. Popular in hotels. Yeah, they were, for hotels too, because you could, you could really crank out a lot of pancakes in a big hurry. And like I said, I'll get one eventually if I find one at a decent price. I would pay, like I said, I would have paid $150 for either of them, but I bid $150 on the 3-spot one. Where were we? There's those. Okay, this was a number 6. Number 6 large logo, and it comes with a number 3 nickel-plated Wagnerware skillet. Not too bad of a deal. It was $52 for the two of them. That's fairly reasonable. Get back here, burn through some of these. Try and get through. Let's see, get rid of them guys. These guys are looked at. I forgot to mark what these were. It's a 5 and a 6. I don't know if they were large or small or one of each. Oh yeah, they showed one is a small. Probably both of them are small logo. Number 5, number 6 for $22 a piece. Not too bad of a price. Get rid of these. This is a slant logo plat pan. It's an older one. Went for $26, but it's pitted. The one spot where it's pitted is right where the logo is, of course, and you can just barely make it out. The rest of it ain't in too bad a shape. You see number 34 there. Yeah, the pitting is right in the middle where the logo is, so it went pretty reasonable. I'd have bet it would probably went for twice that at least for for a slant logo one. Generally there's not a huge amount of demand for the plet pans. They go for 30 to 50 bucks or something like that. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do that. This went fairly cheap. This is a large block logo, number 14. Great big ass round bale griddle. Normally these go for more like 200 bucks, but for some reason this one went for 121. I couldn't find anything wrong, obviously wrong with it. It doesn't look to be cracked. Okay, what's a plet pan? They're Swedish pancakes, silver dollar pancakes. They got I don't know if you just saw it there. They're like I said, they're make little pancakes in them. Get myself rearranged here. But anyway, yeah, large logo number 14. Normally these go for a couple $100, and like I said, I couldn't see anything obviously wrong with it. The bale's a little bit wonky, but that's no big deal. So I don't know why it went that cheap, but somebody got a pretty good deal on that. Don't worry about iron prices after you include it. You can get an estimate on the shipping on the Goodwill site. There's a lot of stuff I passed up on because, once you figure in shipping, it just isn't worth it. Even if it's not too bad of a price, but they get out of hand pretty quick. Somebody really overpaid for this. $509. That's a number 9 Erie deep skillet. They do go for good money. I've seen them go $200, $300 range, and they're not real common. They're fairly uncommon, but this has got a big ass crack right there, and they'll show another picture from the inside, and you can see that crack runs through to the inside, so it's definitely cracked, and that just ain't worth $500. Somebody really ran wild on the bidding on that. Normally, like I said, I've seen them sell, and they're not very common. They're not really rare, but they are scarce. But $200 to $300 is usually what you pay for something like that. Paying $500 for a cracked pan like that that's obviously cracked is just nuts. I don't know what got into them to pay that much for it, but they did. That's a number 9. I think it's a number 9 large block logo griddle. They're not uncommon. They're nice to have. I got one of them. I've had for ages and ages, and they usually sell for about that price. $70 to $90. I see them selling for. If this would have been a little cleaner, looked like it was ready to use, they probably would have got $80 to $90 for it. But they're popular and they're nice to have. Like I said, I've got one that I've had for ages and ages. Here's a number 4. Don't need these guys. A number 4 for $91. It's chrome plated. Chrome. It's kind of hard to tell if you can't actually hold it in your hand exactly what shape the plating is in. This is probably a little bit rusty. It's rusty on the inside, so it's probably kind of worn off on the bottom. But the outside doesn't look too bad. Most of that's just buildup that would come off. About $91 for a number 4 Griswold. And that was a large logo, wasn't it? Yeah, especially a large logo like that. It's pretty good price. I mean, that's about what you expect to pay for it. And like I said, plated stuff, unless the plating is absolutely pristine, the plating actually usually brings the price down on them because there's usually some kind of wear and tear on them. This one here ain't too bad of a price, $173, but it's a number 9 and it's got a lid. Normally, a number 8 lid, the skillet lid with the ears, the lid by itself for a number 8 is usually sold for 75 to $100. A number 9 usually for 100 to 125, and it's got the got a skillet with it. So if you figure $100 for the lid, $75 for a number 9 skillet, it's a pretty decent price, or at least it's a fair market price for them. So they didn't really overpay hugely on that. So they come out ahead. Got a little cleaning to do on it, but you get that. The Griswold, the patty molds, the rosette irons, the prices are kind of all over on them. I got a couple here that sold for $10 a piece, in the original box, but I've seen them sell for anywhere from $10 to $50 for the same thing. So whatever you're going to end up paying for those is, if you can get them cheaper, go ahead, because you can get them cheap. But like I said, I've seen them go for anywhere from $10 to $50. Somebody asked about a Griswold number 0 earlier, and here's one right here that sold for $75. The number 0s, they were the toy size, the ashtray size, they're small. They're not really a usable skillet. You can fry one egg in them, I suppose. But the quality on them was usually a little bit less than a normal skillet. And you can see that's a little bit rough inside. But I'm pretty sure this one is genuine. I mean, it's a little rough, but it's not bad rough. And you look at the back of it, the lettering is all like it should be. Usually the reproductions, and there's a lot of reproductions of the number 0s, usually the lettering is all wonky as hell, and it's really rough. I mean, they're usually pretty obviously fakes. This one I'm fairly sure would be real, but $75, I don't know if they're really what they're really worth. I'd pay, $30-$40 for one, but they might be actually worth that much. Let's see. Kind of trying to look at the comments and everything here at the same time. Oh, Social Security says they overpaid you. Yeah, they usually turn right around and grab that back as fast as they can. $20 for a Griswold cornstick pan is a hell of a good deal. They normally go a lot cheaper, or they normally go for $40-$50. So somebody managed to get a pretty good one. Got a good deal anyway. Here's 2 number 7s, both of them small logo. I'll just show you one of them here quick. Just your basic small logo. It's a number 7. $40 for that one. And the other one was about the same, I think. Come on, I'm waiting. Please wait. Yeah, $35 for one, $40 for the other. Not too bad of a price. I mean, you're going to start, it's a little bit smaller than a number 8, but for, $35-$40, pretty decent price. This one was a pretty good deal, I thought anyway. It's the Duo Chrome. Got the button logo lid on it. Chicken fryer. And a Griswold chicken fryer with a lid is, for under $100. You're probably not going to see that very often. They usually go for more than that. Large logo. It actually looks like the plating is in a really nice shape. I mean, that's just build up on the outside. That'll come right off. And on the bottom, doesn't look like it's too badly worn. I mean, how much of that is wear and how much is just burnt on stuff is hard to say. But the button logo, button logo lid and a chicken fryer. I mean, usually a button logo lid like that by itself goes for about 175 to $100. So that's a pretty good deal on that, I thought. So what would a chicken fryer with a lid and a Griswold be worth? Well, this one here is worth at least $100. And I thought I had another chicken fryer in here. Here's a basic, that's a hinge top lid. That one went pretty good. Normally, any Griswold Dutch ovens you see with a lid, whether it's a hinged or a plain, usually you're looking at over $100. So this guy here came out ahead on the deal. Here's a waffle iron. That's a high base American number 7. Again, that's kind of an odd size. Most of your Griswold waffle irons go around 150, but the high bases usually go for 30, 40, $50 more. And an off size like a number 7, it's a little smaller. Oops, I want to take that off anyway. That's a little bit smaller. That usually goes for more yet. So $200 for that is a fair price. It's not a great bargain, but it's not a unusually high price for something like this either. Go back. I've shown you a few of these big Griswold oval roasters. At $700 is about what they go for. I mean, you're not going to go a whole lot cheaper. There's a couple sizes that are more scarce than others, but pretty much any of them you're looking at anywhere from $500 to $1,200 for the big Griswold oval roasters. This one has a slant logo lid. Some of the ones they have they're fully marked on the outside. They say Griswold oval roaster, size number and all that. This one isn't. And it's probably an earlier one. They don't show you the bottom of or they do, but they don't show you good enough to see if that's a large logo or a slant logo. But that's definitely a slant logo, a slant logo Erie lid. But there are a lot of them that are mismatched right from the factory. The early slant logo and early large block logo, they just kind of used whatever they had on hand. They had a pair, they threw them together, and away they went out the door. So, like I said, I can't really tell what logo that is exactly on the bottom. But yeah, $700 for the big Griswold roasters, it ain't unusual. Like I said, anywhere from $500 to $1,200, depending on exactly what size it is kind of the going rate for them. It's steep, but it just is. Yeah. Especially if that would have had a trivet with it, usually that'll add another, $150, $200 to the price. Let's see. You never see Griswold around there, never. Well, it's out there. I mean, you can find it. Like I said, most of them aren't all that uncommon. The one with the trivet went for $900. There was one. I'm trying to remember the size range. There's like 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5, 6, 7, or something like that. But it's either the number 3 or the number 5 is the rarest one of them. And one of those with a trivet on this sold for, I think, $1,300 not too long ago. And that was the fully marked one that said, Griswold oval roaster and the size number cast right on the lid. threw myself out of my own show for a second there. Anyhow, you can see me cursing every time I pull out a $500 roaster with $4 worth of meat. Yeah, I'm back. I just hit the wrong button and threw myself out. But anyway, let's see, I go back here. Yeah, the big oval roasters are like that. And there was a, I don't know if I, let me scan through quick. There was a Wagner oval roaster, and I'm not sure if I saved it or not. There it is. 250, for roughly the same sort of a thing. I'm not sure if it's the same size or not, but that's the the Wagnerware stylized logo oval roaster number 3. But it's a good bit cheaper, but still, the big oval roasters, yeah. I mean, you very seldom see one go for less than 250. No matter what the brand is. Yeah, the picture is dark. Yeah, the pictures aren't always the best on these on the Goodwill sites. And every now and then they'll give you a dozen pictures except the one picture that you need to have. But anyway, where was that guy I wanted to show you? This one here, $151 for a number 5 skillet. It seems pretty steep, but it's a slant logo with the heat ring, and apparently these are real scarce. I mean, these sell for about the same price as a lot of the number 4s would for the same, or at least as in the catalog, in the red book, they show the number 4 and number 5 as being about the same price, and they were, I can't remember offhand, I think it was 125 to 150 bucks 20 years ago. So the 151 for this probably isn't really far out of line. I mean, it's a really scarce, scarce pan. How should you store pans long term? Somewhere that's good, that isn't damp, of course. You want a nice dry place where the air can circulate through them. But just put them on the stove, heat them up, give them a light coat of oil. Don't use olive oil because over time it will get sticky on you. But most of your cooking oils shouldn't, as long as you don't use too much. A real light coat of oil, and generally just a cool, dry place that gets enough air circulation. Shouldn't be a problem. Check on them once in a while. Make sure they're not getting sticky or not getting rusty. But cool and dry is the main thing. Under the bed, in the closet, I wouldn't put it in the bathroom, but try and make sure it's somewhere warm and dry, or cool and dry rather, and you should be okay. And just check on them once in a while, make sure they're not getting rusty on you. But yeah, it's a beautiful little skillet. Can you even see the skillet here? Oh, I know. Damn it, I didn't. I've been prattling on, looking at my screen down here, and didn't realize that I didn't reshare the screen after I threw myself out. But anyway, there it is. Get myself re-embiggened. Yeah, that's a number 5 Griswold, or a slant logo. Got the Erie, PA, USA with a heat ring. And it's pretty scarce, apparently. Kind of a neat looking 5 on it. So 150 bucks for a what should normally be a $40 skillet is apparently not too far out of line. How much is the Magnolite roaster going for? The oval Dutch oven, so far it's up to $100, and that gets done it's still for sale if you wanted to bid on it. It's still for sale, and it gets done at 6:19 Pacific time. So that'd be 8:19 Central Time. But anyway, let's see, where were we here? I'm going to wrap it up pretty soon. The cast of the Griswold 866 lamb cake mold, the lamb cake mold, 62.88. That's pretty reasonable. It seems like in the springtime, the prices on those shoot way up. Everybody wants to make a lamb cake for Easter, and the prices will go up 125, 150 bucks for them. So, 62 bucks now is probably a pretty good price. Pretty good price for them. Have a slant 5 with Erie on it, not the EPU. Good to know the value. Yeah, apparently at least the heat ring ones, the slant logo heat ring ones are pretty scarce. So, if you got one, you definitely got a good price or something worthwhile. Good price for lamb mold. Yeah, that was pretty decent price. Usually, like I said, especially in the springtime, the prices take right off on them. Let's see, I can get rid of him. This is an early Griswold cupcake pan, muffin tin, popover pan, 45 bucks. That's about what they go for, for any of the Griswold, muffin pans like that. 45 to 60 bucks in that range. So 45 for a early one is a little bit on the low end, but not out of line. And these breadstick pans, 31 bucks, that's pretty cheap. Normally you see those for about 50 or 60. So we'll get rid of him and that. Where was I? We showed you that one. Getting into some of the odds and ends. 67 bucks for this was a hell of a good deal, really. That's a number 9 slant logo, Erie, PA, and I think this is a heat ring one. Yeah. So, paying $67 for that, that's pretty decent price. Normally a number 9, you're starting to get up into the $100 range pretty easily. Even with the shipping, you're still ahead on that deal if you're the one who won that. Let's see, I'll get rid of him. 50 bucks, that's a large logo number 5. That's a bit high. The 35, 40 bucks seems to be a bit more reasonable for that. Let's see. Yeah, here's a number 8, just pretty much a run-of-the-mill number 8 Dutch oven, 131 bucks. Usually for pretty much any Griswold Dutch oven, number 8, unless it's an off size, 120, 100 to 125 bucks is pretty much the going rate for them. This is a number 7, and kind of unusual that it's sold that low. Usually 6s and 7s are a lot more scarce than the number 8s. So that went fairly cheap for what it is, actually. These guys. And like I said, this great big shiny Magnolite stock pot is a big one. It's a 14 quart, but it's a new one. It's made in China, but I think they discontinued them, so I'm not really sure if that's a good price or not. So I can't really comment too much on it. Let's see here. Yeah, it was 67 bucks for that slant logo heat ring skillet, and here's a number 9. That's a block logo, I think. Yeah, a number 9 block logo with a heat ring for what was that, 130? Yeah, 123 bucks. Twice the price for what's actually a little bit newer skillet. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That's a bit high, but like I said, you're getting around $100 for for number 9s in Griswold. And the heat ring ones are a bit more scarce. Most of them aren't really rare, the 8s, 9s, but like I said, the 5 apparently is pretty scarce. But the block logo ones anyway, generally they're not enough more rare, if that makes any sense. That's worth more than a 20% or so premium, 20, maybe 30 at the most. So yeah, I guess that is kind of about what you expect to pay for it, because most of your number 9s are getting up around the $100 range. But here's one for large block. Oh, that's a griddle. But if they're trying to hype you on it being a super rare pan because it has a heat ring, Griswold made the heat ring pans all the way through the large block logo era. They are less common, but they're not super rare. And every Griswold pan, even the small logo ones, number 12 and bigger, had a heat ring on them. So, don't get conned into paying twice the price because it has a heat ring as you would for something the same size. 20% more, 30% more is fairly fair. So yeah, we looked at that. Just about wound up here. And we looked at that guy already. I don't know why I had that Wagner in there. Here's a small logo grooved handled enameled one. The enamel's real nice on this. Got one little chip on that spout, but other than that, the enamel's real nice on this. I don't know if it's $50 worth of nice, but this is this red and cream enamel is pretty common with the Griswolds from about 1945 on. The small logo ones, that's generally the color scheme you see with them. Trying to see if there's anything really important. What's this? $50, not a bad price. That's a slant logo Erie for $55. Okay, what size is that? Yeah, that's a number 8. Number 8 slant logo Erie for $55. I didn't see any obvious cracks in any of that. That's a hell of a good price for that. I mean, we just went over this, and the slant logo Erie are early ones. There's a lot of demand for them. It's kind of crusty, but yeah, somebody got a pretty good deal on that one. Anything with that old enamel is a bad investment in your book? As long as the enamel's in good shape, there's nothing wrong with it. Lead in the enamel, you're not going to see that in pretty much any of the 20th century cast iron. Some of the very early stuff from before 1900, but not all of it, especially colors like white had lead in them, but it's not very common. And you can check if you have any doubt. You can lead test it and see. So a lot of times, though, what you run in trouble with is it's getting cracked and crazed and starting to flake off, and you don't want enamel flaking off in your food. Yeah, somebody got a pretty good deal on this one here anyway. Griswold double skillet, $200. Yeah, these are, got the hinged lid, double skillet. That's a large logo one too. So $200 for that isn't uncommon, especially when you have a pair like that. Usually $175 to $200 is what I see these going for. So you got a match set. 200 is kind of on the higher end of the range, but it's nothing hugely out of line. This is kind of cool. Let itself get caught up. The lid, I'm pretty sure, doesn't go to this pot, It's just kind of neat. It's an early Erie uh, kettle, number 8 kettle, patented March 1891. 791's obviously hand cut or hand scribed letters on it. It's just kind of a neat pot. Looks like it's pretty good shape inside, not pitted up bad, real nice shape. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that's not really the lid for it, but that ain't too big of a deal. $100, it's more than I'd pay for something like that, but it's not out of line for what it is. You won that $7.91 foot pot. Ah, good for you. Yeah, it looks, like I said, it looks pretty good. It's an early Griswold. I don't need a pot bad enough that I'd pay $100 for it, but I don't think it's out of line. Yeah, the lid wasn't. No, I didn't think so. That looks more like a camp oven lid. Not sure what. They don't show you the backside of it or really give you a very good look at it in the pictures. Need to cut a hole to see under your bathtub. Wonder if it's Griswold. I don't know if Griswold made bathtubs. I mean, they might have. They made pretty much everything else out of cast iron you could think of at one time or another. But yeah, it is it's a neat pot. I think you paid a fair price for it. They're going for more than that on eBay, so I pulled the trigger on it. Yeah, like I say, it's eBay. If you know what it's worth, you can do all right, but most of the stuff is overpriced. But once in a while, you can get a good deal on eBay. But pretty much going to pay market price on eBay, if not more. Here's another of these, the Griswold Heart and Star waffle irons. This is a high base. They made two sizes of these, a number 18 and a number 19. And I'm pretty sure this is an 18, which sells for less, $400. There was number 19 that sold not too long ago for, I think it was like $1,100. And but they're a hell of a lot more scarce than the number 18s. It looks to be in pretty good shape, and $400 for it. Yeah, that's pretty much a going rate for them. The 18s usually go for $400 or $600 in that range. Get a lot of trick or treaters? No, we don't get any trick or treaters out here, way the hell out in the woods. Love the hooked R. Yeah, those are kind of slick. The hooked R, Erie. There were some of the skillets had that too. But anyway, just about going to wrap her up here for the evening. I can't see how long I've been on. For some reason, I'm kind of down on the... Oh, I got the sharing thing there, so that kind of bumps everything down. But I think we covered all the important stuff anyhow. And I know I hit these a couple of times. So yeah, there's some decent prices out there for Griswold stuff. It takes a little patience. You're not gonna get a good deal every time, and some of the stuff they paid way too much for. But for the most part, this guy here had the number 666 colonial breakfast pans for $177. That's a little bit high, but that's not too far out of the range of what they go for. I mean, they typically go for, that's a Cliff Cornell. Yeah, that's what that would sell for. The compliments of Cliff Cornell, the Cleveland Flux Company. Griswold made a bunch of these for this, for this Cleveland Flux Company as a promotional item. So they do sell for a lot more. Normally, the regular colonial breakfast griddles like that go for around $150. But yeah, I didn't notice that when I didn't notice that before that it was the Cliff Cornell version. So those will definitely go for more, $175 to $100 or to $175 to $200 for those is about normal, and around 125 to 150 for the regular Colonial breakfast skillet. I can get it all out. But anyway, I think we'll wrap her up for tonight. I think I covered, all of the high spots anyhow. Another set of patty molds for $10. There's 4 different styles. There's these 2 shallow ones. Then there's kind of a deeper round one that's more of a cup than a rosette. But yeah, I think we pretty much got her covered. Covered all the good stuff. These are extra ones, number 5 for $30. Not too bad of a price. So yeah, there's definitely some some decent deals out there for Griswold stuff if that's what you're looking for. And a lot of it's overpriced. I mean, especially antique shops, flea markets. They see Griswold, they see dollar signs, put $100 price tag on it, and a lot of people pay that much for it. I mean, you saw on here there's some that were definitely overpaid, but the market value isn't necessarily that high for a lot of the Griswold stuff, at least for some of the more common stuff. And even some of the more uncommon stuff, you can still get a decent price on it if you're patient at it, and you know how to clean something up. A lot of these, if they would have been really clean, looked like you can just throw them on the stove and use them right away, they probably would have went for more. But most of us here know how to restore a cast iron and what to do with a crusty pan. So a little bit of patience, a little bit of shopping around. You can probably get some pretty nice Griswold stuff at least a decent price. You're not gonna necessarily get it dirt cheap all the time, but there's a few of them here that for one reason or another, that nothing obviously wrong with it, went pretty good price. So just a little patience, a little bit of sense. Don't stampede yourself into buying something that isn't worth it. But anyhow, I'm going to wrap this up tonight. Next week, we'll have the cook stove going over there. Oh, let me get this off the screen. Get myself up here. Stop screen. There I am. And let's see here. I'll get back here. Solo layout. There we go. All right. Anyhow, for some reason, it's cut off the top part of my little window on this side of the StreamYard side of everything. But anyhow, yeah, we're gonna wrap her up next. Do a little bit of cooking next week on the cook stove. Got something planned. You'll have to wait and see what it is I'm going to be making. Like I said, you might be able to find the video of it because I have made it before, but I haven't made it in the wood stove, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully I'll see you guys on Halloween night for the next show at 6:30. And until then, enjoy yourselves, and thanks for stopping by. See ya.